Welcome to POSTCAST. DeMar DeRozan and Zack LaVine are the two-horned attack of the Chicago Bulls, and they put up 42 points on the Utah Jazz in the fourth quarter as the Jazz fall to the Bulls 126-118, leading going to the fourth and falling late. We'll talk about it coming up on POSTCAST. David Locke along with Ron Boone with you here on POSTCAST tonight as the Jazz unable to close out the Bulls. Jazz led this game going to the fourth quarter by 5, and for the 8th time this year, which is the most in the NBA, and probably not really surprising in any way, the Jazz lost this one, leading going to the fourth, and they lose it tonight because of the Bulls' offensive fourth quarter explosion. The Bulls score 42 points. In that fourth quarter, they shoot 15 of 19. They shoot 6 of 7 from 3. So, Ron, how much just really good shot making by the Chicago Bulls and how much Jazz defensive failures?
Well, they had two players that were shot at a great percentage and made big shots at the right time. 43 shots between those two teams, DeRozan and LaVine, and LaVine ended up with 6 for 12 there from the three-point line. So that's the ball game right there. You just, you got a backcourt there that can put a number of points on the board that quickly. And they're veteran players. I mean, they play loose, they get it done.
It's hard. They're running everything up the top. We watch them a lot this year. They do a lot of three-man game stuff, but tonight they just did two-man stuff. They just did Vucevic setting up at the top of the key, or between the top of the key and the three-point line, and then DeRozan's coming off it. DeRozan's going to try to get in the mid-range. You got a Linux switched on him a bunch of times. LaVine is if the Jazz went under a bunch of time. LaVine hit 11 threes last night, so he was ready to go tonight and buried another 6 of them tonight on his way to 36 points after scoring 41 last night. Those are just super tough matchups, and that's that's what they've built here is that three-headed monster. And then the one time Jordan Clarkson got caught switching, he ends up with Vucevic down in the post. I mean, there's just not a lot of great defensive options on how you're dealing with that.
Yeah, and they provide so many problems offensively that you're going to get caught cheating sometimes, or you get that mismatch that you can't defend them, and they obviously took advantage of it. 28 three-point shots, they made 13. What a great percentage at 46%, and that's just great basketball, taking advantage of your two-point range but also you got to have total respect because they can shoot the three-point shot.
Well, if the Jazz are going to win tonight, they're going to have to win it by outside the three-point line. The
Jazz
you
said that earlier, and I believe
fourth most amount of threes in the league, and the Bulls take the last. That's where your edge had to be tonight. And by the end of the night, the Bulls actually had made one more three than the Jazz. If the Bulls make more threes than the Jazz, there's little to no chance the Jazz can win that game.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Plus, I think they played a lot faster and than what we saw early in the year in Salt Lake City. So maybe that's one of the reasons they've been on this surge. Maybe some good shooting has something to do with that as well. But that probably has a lot to do with the surge that they're having as far as their one record.
Bulls have won 8 of their last 11, including wins over Philadelphia and Brooklyn in their last 2 outings. So that is a team that is certainly playing very, very well right now. For the Jazz, it's let's just talk about the fourth quarter for a second. It's not surprising to me. The Jazz have lost 8 games now where they've led going to the fourth quarter, tonight by 5, the next closest Oklahoma City by 6. This is not surprising to me. A new team put together without a marquee superstar player going into late in game situations. They still are. We could probably nitpick it. I mean, there was a 3 shot by Malik Beasley that was just not a good look tonight. There's just some opportunities and some moments where there aren't great looks by this team in the fourth quarter where a few too many possessions are getting loose.
Yeah, and then again, I mean, sometimes it might be the combination of players you have out there on the floor. You have those out there on the floor because of maybe some foul trouble or some matchups that you think you might have, and it could be a lot of things. Will is he'll be the first to tell you that he struggles sometimes with combinations and everything out there on the floor, and that's probably what we're seeing now. But the fourth quarter is where if you're in the ball game, that fourth quarter is where you should be really focusing on winning some games.
He was hamstrung a little bit tonight. Walker Kessler had a tough night and had 5 fouls. Ideally, when Vucevic is setting that pick, you'd probably like to have Walker Kessler out there. Then you can kind of trail a little bit, try to force him in the lane, do some things of that sort. But that Walker had 5 fouls. I don't know if he even played in the fourth quarter tonight. he played 0 minutes in the fourth quarter tonight. Ochai Agbaji did play 11 minutes and 39 seconds in the fourth quarter. He got the defensive assignment for the large part on DeMar DeRozan for a bunch of those possessions. Talen Horton-Tucker closed the game, trying to be a bigger defender than Mike Conley on some of those after Mike played the opening 7 minutes of the fourth quarter. So Will was trying a lot of different things, knowing exactly what was coming down the stretch. But just we had no answer defensively in any way.
Yeah, it's obviously that's a problem. And the offense is definitely there. We've seen it all season long. But sometimes you have those ball games where you're at a disadvantage at certain positions out there on the floor, and it is the guard line for the Jazz tonight.
This game was great fun. Both the teams stayed within about 6 points most of the night, going back and forth. Defenses won the first half. Offenses won the second half. The first half, both teams were about 1 point of possession, which means the defenses were playing really, really well. In fact, the second quarter, I thought, was one of the Jazz best defensive quarters of the entire year. They really were on it. They did a nice job. And then in the second half, the offenses won the day. A lot of great shot making. And from a Jazz standpoint, another really exciting outing by Ochai Agbaji. Frankly, Markkanen tonight has 28. Agbaji has 19. Your two leading scorers are from the Cleveland trade tonight for the Utah Jazz. And Agbaji tonight goes 7 of 7. He had 4 threes. I get a little nervous about getting super excited about a guy who's suddenly shooting 90% from 3 on back-to-back nights. That seems unsustainable to me. But some of the other plays I'm pretty excited about, Ron. The bounce pass he threw for the assist at one point around the defense and the left-hand drive to the rack. He showed a little bit more to his offensive game than we've seen while playing with some of the best players on the floor.
Yeah, if you're just looking at offense, 7 for 7 from the field, and man, he has a set of legs on him. He got up over the top of the defense up one time there and shot a little bank shot on the left side of the floor. You can see the upside of his game, and we'll see if his playing time or his minutes start to increase to the point where he can just grow as a player, I think, in this league.
Pretty incredible that out of nowhere, frankly, Will Hardy the other day just announced, it's time for Ochai Agbaji to play and get some time. And then Will Hardy went and gave him the game ball after the game the other night instead of Lauri Markkanen, who had a career-high 49, and said, hey, I know Lauri had 49, but we're, not in that game if Ochai doesn't make that play. This is a guy who's worked hard for 40 games without a lot of dividends, stayed engaged the whole time. This is a great testament to the Jazz Salt Lake Stars program run by Scott Morrison, their head coach, by the Jazz development staff run by Evan, and what the Jazz are trying to build here with these kids and these opportunities with these young players to have Ochai go through this work and frankly didn't have a great training camp, or he would have come out of training camp playing. It wasn't as though somebody had some agenda against him. He just didn't have a very good camp. And
how old is he?
He's actually old. He's 22, 23. He's a 5-year college player. I mean, he's old for a college player. But, you're seeing a guy now playing with a little confidence, earning it, and it's nice because Will Hardy's also made the comment, no free minutes. We're not giving free minutes, and he's earning these.
Yeah, we watch how hard he works before the ball game, in practice. He's putting his time, putting his minutes in. But the big thing is the amount of confidence that he showed here the last 2 ball games. It wasn't like he was nervous and made a lot of mistakes. Did he have many turnovers? Didn't have any turnovers here tonight at all. So that shows that he's playing within the system.
Fairness, just to make sure we're telling the whole story. A few guys had rough nights tonight. Malik Beasley just could not buy it. JC impressively got it going early for a while. There are nights every now and then where I feel like JC's looking at 2 rims instead of 1. He doesn't miss by a little. He misses by a lot. And tonight was a 2-rim night for JC, so then he went and took it to the rack and made a bunch of plays after going 1 of 7 from the field. Kelly Olynyk struggled with his shot tonight. He got 3 wide open looks early in the ballgame. Didn't make any of them, so then was probably pretty reluctant to let it fly after that. So there were some guys that had some tough shooting nights tonight for the Jazz.
Yeah, even though the Jazz still end up shooting about close to 50%, it was because of some great shooting there by Clarkson ended up, with making 7 for 14, but the 12 for 20 for Markkanen, then 7 for 7 there by Agbaji there, just increase that field goal percentage. But another close loss. Memphis, very explosive offensive team. team.
It's going to be a tough one tomorrow with Memphis coming after us. All right, time for our 2 stars tonight. I think it's pretty obvious. By the way, the numbers on this one are going to go down to the make or miss category. When they go back and reanalyze this game, you're going to have the Bulls at 13 of 28 from 3 and the Jazz 12 of 41 from 3. And coming into the league, the Jazz are a better three-point shooting team than the Bulls. This one's going to go into the make or miss category here a little bit. All right, your 2 stars tonight.
Well, I got 3.
Oh, some guys about to get hit by the screens coming down. These guys are got their drinks in hand and firing up and oblivious to the world. And they almost got hit by the screen coming down. We got a hockey game here tomorrow. They tear this place out faster than any place you've ever seen.
Well, New York is like this, too.
It is. All right, what do we got for our 2 stars?
I got
The Cleveland Connection?
Here. I got 3 guys
here.
Oh,
you're on 3. I only had 2.
I don't know if I could. Well, Vanderbilt had one heck of a
Oh, my
basketball
gosh, you're right.
And you got Markkanen, you got Agbaji again, back-to-back ball games.
You're right.
So between the 3, if you had to take 2.
I might go Jared. I might go with you, Jared and Agbaji. Do you just give Are we just going to take Lowry's 28 for granted? But that dunk, I've got to give Lowry a star because he killed Nikola Vucevic tonight.
Yeah, he did.
That is